Hello everyone! Thank you for visiting our channel. Have you ever experienced such life stories? William and Olivia had been in a relationship for several years. They met when they were together with friends at a mutual friend's birthday party. William immediately noticed the attractive brunette with a perfect figure, and after talking to her, he was completely enchanted. Their relationship developed steadily, and nothing out of the ordinary happened. One day, William proposed that Olivia move in with him, but she refused because she wasn't in favor of cohabitation before marriage. They had a close relationship, but she was only willing to do household chores, laundry, cleaning, and cooking for a lawful spouse. Such a clear like stance even impressed William, because not many could boast such principles. He heard from friends that most girls expected their partners to propose living together to save on housing expenses. Olivia loved the attention she received from William. They saw each other several times a week, and sometimes she stayed at his place. Everything was going well, and William even began to consider her as the only woman he wanted to spend his life with. He didn't notice any flaws in her. One day, Olivia called William and asked for urgent help. Today, she needed to leave for a few days to visit her parents in another city, and her cat would be all alone. William immediately drove to his beloved, gave her a ride to the train station, helped with her luggage, and took the spare keys to her apartment so that the cat wouldn't be left without food. He fulfilled his promise and took care of the cat, and a few days later, he joyfully welcomed its owner at the train station with a bouquet of flowers. In the midst of all the chaos, Olivia forgot to take her spare keys, and they remained at William's home in a drawer. Time passed, and summer approached. Olivia increasingly talked about how tired she was and how she wanted to relax. She hinted that William should arrange a joint trip to the seaside, like they did last year. But William said that unfortunately, he didn't have the extra money right now, so he couldn't take Olivia on vacation. In reality, he had already started saving money for a beautiful engagement ring for her. He didn't speak of it aloud, so Olivia simply felt hurt by his refusal to go to the sea. After that, their relationship gradually cooled off. Olivia started refusing to meet more often, claiming she was busy with work, even though they used to spend a lot of time together. It was evident that she was growing distant, but they never discussed the possibility of breaking up. At first, William attributed this behavior to her business, but then he started to worry. He didn't want to lose Olivia. He thought that he hadn't surprised her in a long time, and a gift could help mend their relationship and melt her heart. While William was contemplating the surprise, one of his old friends surprised him with unpleasant news. According to him, he saw Olivia with another man. He had his arm around her waist and then put her in his car. William asked his friend, "Are you sure it was her?" "Yes, it looked very much like her. I'm almost certain it was Olivia," his friend replied. William furrowed his brow. If his friend isn't sure about what he saw, why should he believe it? He told his friend that it was just his imagination, and soon Olivia would become his wife. "You'll see. She's different," he repeated. The friend simply smiled sadly, but didn't try to convince the man otherwise. Life itself would handle that in the future. A couple of days later, William finally settled on the surprise and decided to use the key that had been lying in the drawer for a long time. Since Olivia continued to refuse meetings due to accumulated household chores, he decided to brighten up her weekdays. The plan was as follows. He would come to Olivia's home earlier than her return from work and wait for her with flowers and food, ordered from her favorite restaurant. As a finishing touch to the surprise, he wanted to give her a beautiful pendant she had long admired in a store. William was very pleased with his plan. The next day, he finished work early, carefully timed it so that Olivia was not yet home, and arrived ahead of time. He unlocked the apartment, went inside, and locked the door from the inside to avoid arousing suspicion. Everything was already prepared. The glasses were set, but something was holding Olivia back from coming home. Half an hour passed, then an hour, and even more. William sadly glanced at his watch and then at the now cold food he had ordered from the restaurant. He was about to leave when he suddenly glanced out the window and noticed something. On the parking lot near Olivia's house, she was getting out of a car, followed by an unfamiliar man. They were heading towards the entrance. This is getting interesting, thought William. He decided to see what they would do. Immediately attacking the stranger with fists would be strange. After all, who knows who he might be to her? Maybe a relative. Presenting himself to them in the apartment, which was supposed to be empty, as if nothing had happened, wasn't a very good idea either. And if she really had an affair on the side, then he wouldn't be able to confront her about it. In the end, William quickly hid his shoes and the bouquet he brought and took the food out to the balcony. He himself hid in a small wardrobe in the bedroom. At that moment, the front door swung open and Olivia and the man entered the apartment. At first, the woman was animatedly talking about something, but then she suddenly fell silent. Instead of her cheerful voice, there were sounds of slapping and smacking. And now, the moment of truth had arrived. The two of them, still embracing and kissing, walked into the bedroom and collapsed onto the bed. William couldn't sit still any longer. He burst out of the wardrobe so abruptly that Olivia even screamed in fright. "Who is this? A lover or something?" the man shouted as he got off Olivia. And indeed, the whole scene looked exactly like that. William was hiding in the closet like a lover in silly anecdotes. "Ask Olivia. I think she has something to tell you," William said, and they both stared at the woman. "Are you seeing him?" the man asked harshly, but she couldn't utter a sound. The surprise was completely ruined, although there was certainly an element of unexpectedness in the evening. Benjamin, that was the name of Olivia's guest, turned out to be unaware that he wasn't her only boyfriend. He had invited his new girlfriend to go on a trip with him to the sea, and she, in response, invited him to her home. The men confronted each other right then and there while Olivia, covering her face with her hands, sat on the bed, ready to disappear out of sheer shame. Unfortunately, the famous punchline from a joke, "It's not what you think," didn't come up that evening. The men gathered their belongings and, expressing their unfiltered thoughts about this woman, left her apartment. Naturally, William completely changed his mind about proposing to his former beloved. Olivia, after the noisy departure of her two suitors and the attention of curious neighbors, had to find herself a new place to live. The owners of the rental apartment assumed she was engaged in prostitution and refused to continue renting to her. The moral of this story is simple. Take your women on vacations by the sea or look for more modest ones. Thank you for listening to the story until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and be sure to like this video. You'll greatly help promote the channel. All the best.